Picture this. The fancy glass hall at Clinton Innovations HQ in Manhattan, all shiny and full of that big city buzz. There's Rose Clinton, yes, the beautiful high-end lady, looking sharp in her GOAT's signature pink tweed suit, arms crossed, chuckling with her executive team. A black man in a plain brown t-shirt and khakis approaches, leather portfolio under his arm. Miss Clinton, Charles Washington. We have a 10 o'clock meeting about the potential acquisition. He extends his hand. Rose stares at his outstretched palm like it's something filthy. She leans back slightly, hands staying firmly tucked. Excuse me, how did you get past security? Her tone oozes contempt. The executives behind her, 20 in crisp navy suits, arranged in a perfect half moon, fall silent. This is an internal briefing for real stakeholders, not for whoever you are. She eyes his casual outfit up and down. Security, she shouted. Escort this man out before I have him charged with intrusion. Charles drops his hand steadily. Miss Clinton, if you'd verify who I said leave now, or I'll make sure you're detained. 2 guards hurry over. Phones slip from pockets. Someone hits record. In moments, Charles exits with chin up. Rose turns to her team, flicking non-existent lint from her sleeve. She has no clue she's just torpedoed the silent buyer ready to rescue her crumbling empire. 2 months earlier, Clinton Innovations was valued at $600 million. Today, the figures on the ledger make Rose's fingers tremble whenever she glances at them. The firm hemorrhages $6 million a month. The accounts have cash for just 9 more weeks. After that, insolvency. Rose sits in her 45th floor corner office, the Hudson River sprawling gray and uncaring through the floor-to-ceiling panes. She's built her whole persona around this panorama. Yale MBA, Forbes Women in Tech Spotlight, Wired's Innovator of the Year twice over. Her father amassed a hedge fund fortune in the 90s. Her mother chairs 3 foundations. Rose grew up in Greenwich Mansions, wintered in Aspen, and never fretted over funds until this nightmare. She's courted 19 investors over 7 months. All declined. Elitist vibe, one leaked memo snarled. Ignores input, griped another. Toxic culture signals, warned a third. Rose trashed those messages. She convinced herself they lacked foresight. But the reserves dwindle, and only one shadowy prospect lingers on her roster. Across town in a sleek Brooklyn loft commanding views of the skyline, Charles Washington brews his midday espresso. The space is stark, polished concrete floors, minimal furnishings, a bank of monitors flickering with stock tickers and crypto charts. He was raised in Detroit's roughest blocks. His mom juggled assembly line shifts. He patched hand-me-downs and crammed under flickering bulbs when power bills went unpaid. Full ride to Harvard, finance and comp science. At 25, he coded a fintech algorithm that outsmarted Wall Street quants. A venture firm snapped up his startup for $650 million. Now 37, he helms Washington Capital, $2.9 billion in assets, 39 wins out of 42 bets. Bloomberg dubs him the stealth kingpin of investments. He skips suits altogether. It's his litmus test for every deal. Do they value his vision or just his vault? This afternoon, his holographic display lights up with 3 avatars. His strategist Lena, his CFO Marcus, his aide Jamal. Boss, wrap the Clinton Innovations audit. Lena's voice cuts through. The AI is cutting edge. The books are a bloodbath. And Rose Clinton's got baggage. Spell out baggage. Charles sips his espresso. It's scalding. He places it down. Hard to collaborate with, politely put. Dug up 4 anonymized Glassdoor posts from ex-staff. All minorities, citing slights and stalled careers. Marcus zooms in. If we bite, it's all in. For $100 million. Huge risk on a shaky helm. Hence the face-to-face. Charles retrieves his espresso. It's tempered just right. Stats deceive. Humans don't. Not up close. Jamal scans his slate. Meeting locked 3 weeks back. 10 a.m., their atrium. Her aide shot back. Clinton eager to greet Mr. Washington. Photo included? Full dossier dispatched. Bloomberg write-up, firm synopsis, the lot. Charles dips his head. Solid. So she knows her counterpart. But here's the blind spot. Rose never pores over prep packets. That's aid work. She schemes 10 a.m. buyer huddle and presumes they'll bow. She skipped Googling Charles Washington. Had she'd uncover 39 features. She'd spot his stealth billionaire status. She'd absorb his ink piece. I go casual deliberately. Gauges if folks honor my brain or bash my threads. But Rose skips searches. Rose presumes. And that presumption is poised to shatter her world. At 9:45, Charles exits his loft. The autumn breeze bites. His driver idles curbside. At 9:50, Rose rallies her execs in the atrium, rallying them after a strategy session that bombed last month. She figures she can flip it. She can't. But she's on the cusp of facing someone who could salvage everything. If only she'd spot him striding in. Charles's car eases up to Clinton HQ at 10:05. Gridlock on 5th was brutal. He pings Jamal, 5 late. Alert her camp. Replies zips, handled. All set. He enters the atrium. The conditioned air blasts first, that corporate chill laced with polished stone and faint cologne. His t-shirt is earth-toned, ironed crisp. His khakis crease sharp. His sneakers gleam white. Dressed as ever for debuts. Easy, true, unmasked. Across the floor, Rose tosses her head, guffawing at a quip from her CFO. She's in that $5,000 pink tweed, pearl studs glinting with each tilt. Her updo is severe, almost strained. The team isn't joining the mirth. Some check watches. They've got deadlines. Charles advances. Portfolio snug underarm. He's practiced, solid grip, genuine grin. Appreciate the slot, Miss Clinton. She pivots. Her gaze locks. Her chuckle doesn't fade. It morphs to malice. She appraises his t-shirt, khakis, sneakers. It climbs to his face, her mouth twisting. Need something? Not welcoming. The edge you'd snap at a solicitor peddling junk. Charles Washington. He thrusts his hand, beaming. Our 10 o'clock on the acquisition for Clinton Innovations. Rose eyes the proffered hand. Stays rooted. Hers clamp her elbows. Washington Capital, was it? He nods, tone steady. My aide Jamal locked it with your office weeks ago. Washington Capital. Rose echoes it like sour milk. Doesn't ring a bell. A team member, salt and pepper haired with a tablet, coughs. Rose, maybe she flashes a palm. Hold. Listen. Rose edges nearer to Charles. Near enough for her scent, citrus, lavish, to hit. No clue how you snagged this locale, but it's closed circle. I am in the circle. Charles holds the hand out. Mix up? Ring your aide. Mia, right? She greenlit last Wednesday. What I see, Rose's volume climbs, is you rolling up to a board-level powwow dressed like a weekend grill-out. The execs swap looks. The tablet guy mutters to a colleague. This is awkward. Ms. Clinton. Charles eases his hand down. I get it's off-script, but off-script? Rose cackles. Not joy. What's off is types like you barging into elite huddles. Types like you. It lingers heavy. A nearby intern glances from her screen. A receptionist halts keystrokes. Charles senses the old ache in his core. Felt it at Harvard when a prof pegged him for janitorial. At a gala when a host queried if he valet parked. At a summit last quarter when they tasked him with water refills. He levels his tone. I crossed town for this sit-down. Let me flash my creds. Your creds? Rose's words ooze scorn. Meaning some bootleg card from Kinko's? She pivots to the guard station. Hey, assistants over here. 2 security stride up. One's a veteran black guy, Terrence, face etched with reluctance. The other's green, Latino, buzz cut. Charles ventures once more. Miss Clinton, obvious wires crossed. I'm lead at Washington Capital. We oversee $2.9 billion. Chatted your CFO last week on terms. $2.9 billion. Rose guffaws outright. Sure. And I'm Empress of Manhattan. She rakes him again, deliberate, audience aware. Bet you skimmed our wired piece. Thought you'd crash, schmooze in, snag contacts. The tablet exec pipes up. Rose, perhaps, no. Rose slices him off. This is prime opportunist bait in our field. She locks on Charles's face. Whatever scam this is, I don't grip palms with gatecrashers, and sure as hell not with slobs who can't suit up. Guards reach. Terrence eyes Charles sorry-like. The rookie hand hovers his radio. Ma'am, rookie's clipped pro. Issue. Yeah. Rose jabs at Charles like curbside garbage. This guy's tanking a closed session. No list spot. Uninvited. Boot him now. Charles inhales deep. Could whip out his phone, flash Bloomberg. Dial Marcus to vouch. But nah. This unveils all on Rose Clinton. She missed the buyer. Missed the mogul. Missed even baseline decency. Spotted a black guy casual and decreed him outsider. I'll go. Charles's words soft. Steady. No escort needed. He nods Terrence. Doors that way. But Rose ain't finished. Oh, you'll get walked. Ensure he bolts and skips other rooms. She nods Rookie. Street him. Bar re-entry. Rookie affirms. Yes, ma'am. Sir, this way. The trek feels endless. Every gaze pins. The intern's filming flat out. Receptionist drops pretense. Charles chin high. Pace even. Exec. Terrence flanks. No contact. Space given. At exit, Terrence murmurs close. Sir, real apologies. Just, your gig. Charles. Small nods. Got it. Outside, Manhattan's crisp noon bites. Charles pauses sidewalk, pulse steadying. Phone vibrates. Jamal, boss, status? Rose's aide rang. Said you bounced. Shift gears. Scrap the afternoon slots. Jet me home. But the $400 mill. Jamal, tone kind yet steel. I got my read. Book it. Inside the atrium, Rose straightens her tweed, beams back at the team. So sorry for that glitch. You wouldn't credit the crashers in this game. The tablet exec skips smile. Rose, that hit harsh. Harsh. Rose flaps dismissively. Got to steal with these sorts, or they exploit. Another exec grabs his case, rising. Time to jet. Deadlines. But we ain't wrapped. Wrapped last month, Rose. His chill. Decline then. Just courtesy drop in. They grip quick. Pro depart. Rose solo, eyeing their backs. Frown flickers. Shrug. Whips phone, texts aide. That gay crasher? Nuke his deets. No room for his ilk hogging slots. She misses that his ilk's the lone shot at buoying her firm. And under 3 hours, she'll unmask exactly who Charles Washington is. 12:30 p.m. Rose's 45th floor sanctum. Charles Washington's faded already. Aide Mia raps, enters with slate. Face ashen. Miss Clinton, quick query. Rose skips eye lift from screen. Fast. Board call in 15. That atrium guy, security bounced. Him. You ordered his data wiped, but confirm first. Charles Washington, yeah? Washington Capital. Rose's keys halt. So, Ms. Clinton. Mia's pitch waivers. You search him? Ice knots Rose's gut. Why hunt some rando poaching my huddle? Mia plants the slate down. Screen blares Bloomberg. Charles Washington. Fintech is shadow titan. Rose gapes at the pic. Identical mug. Same stoic vibe. Same dude she axed hours back. Skin blurs. Sharpens. Worth. $1.2 billion net. Washington Capital. $2.9 billion managed. Stealth rank high. Track. 39 ventures. 39 triumphs. Seats at fintech behemoths. Palms quake. For real, like hefting lead. Mia. Voice rasps. Say different Charles. Mia scrolls. More shot. Charles beside fintech CEOs. Handshakes with moguls. Panels at summits. Every frame casual. T-shirts. No ties. Suitless. Rose's windpipe clamps. Swallow fails. Meet set weeks ago, Mia murmurs. Emails here. Acquisition chat. For $100 million. For $100 million. Echoes like thunder in Rose's skull. Sans it. Firm tanks in 9 weeks. Oh hell. Rose bolts up. Chair skids. Smacks glass. Oh hell. Oh hell. Snags phone. Hunts Charles's digits in trash contacts. Fingers slick. Wipes on tweed pre-dial. Rings 1, 2, 3. Voicemail. Mr. Washington, Rose Clinton. Awful mix-up this am keen to reset ASAP. Ring back. Hangs. Redials. Voicemail. Voicemail. Mia. Pitch climbs. Call Elena now. Elena Ramirez, CFO, hits in 2 minutes. Coffee clutched, reports Sheaf. Crisis. Rose thrusts Bloomberg. The atrium eject, supposed buyer. Elena scans. Face flips confused, shocked, horrified, and sex. Joke, right? Look joking. Elena dumps coffee. Splash hits reports. Unnoticed. Rose. Tell me you didn't bounce Charles Washington. Didn't ID him. Showed like a slacker. Famous for it. Elena's volume spikes. Wall Street Journal op-ed. His shtick. Suitless. Industry knows. Rose slumps. Leather creaks. She winces. Salvageable. Elena scrolls mobile. Jaw sets. Washington was soul shot. Rose, 19 knows elsewhere. He had our AI. Months vetting. Months. Apologize. Clarify. He bets character. Elena eyes up. Every chat says. Pitch slides secondary. Leadership, treatment key. Words thud like boulders. Rose redials Charles. Voicemail. Skips message. Laps open. Peck's email shaky. Dear Mr. Washington, deep regrets, on AM confusion. Hectic, schedule skimmed short. Thrilled to realign. Team pumped for Washington Capitol tie. Best, Rose Clinton. Send whoosh seals. Elena still scrolls. Oh crap. What? Rival posted. Shows. XXX post nameless but clear. Saw jaw drop unpro at New York huddle today. Treatment screams character. Hashtag corp ethics. 180 reposts already. Rose's phone blares. Leaps. Not Charles. Board chair. Harlan. Rose, just off with that rival. Said you axed someone from briefing. Mix up. Said no. Hand grip. Security call. Guy was Charles Washington. Quiet. Harlan. Explainable. Get what you wrecked? Tone Arctic. $400 million lifeline. Washington last play. Soul. You shamed him in your atrium. Mistake. Reaching. Reaching? Harlan bitter chuckles. Dealt with Washington prior. Disrespect? No redos. Values over ego. Click dead. Rose redials Charles. Voicemail. Emails more. Mr. Washington, AM conduct inexcusable. In-person sorry chance. Let me clarify. 2 o'clock, zilch. 3 o'clock, zilch. 4 o'clock, fintech blog drops piece. Insiders, Rose Clinton boots tycoon buyer, IDs as crasher. No byline. The blog post hit the wires at 4:07 p.m. Insiders, Rose Clinton boots tycoon buyer, IDs as crasher. The information, no byline 4 minutes ago. Rose stared at the headline until the letters swam. Her reflection in the black glass of the window looked like a stranger. Mascara smudged, lips bloodless, eyes too wide. The Hudson outside had turned the color of old steel, mirroring the panic clawing up her throat. She refreshed the page. Views, 412,000 and climbing. Comments, 3,800. Most of them vicious. Her phone detonated. Harlan again. Her mother. Her PR crisis firm. A text from her ex-husband. You okay? She ignored them all. Mia. The name cracked out of her like a whip. The door flew open. Mia stood there. Tablet clutched to her chest like body armor. Close it, Rose hissed. Lock it. Mia obeyed. The clicks sounded final. Rose's voice dropped to a dangerous whisper. Tell me exactly how bad this is. Mia swallowed. The video is at 21 million views across platforms. It's the top trend on every site. Someone stitched it with your old Forbes, Women in Tech clip, the one where you said, I only hire people who look the part. It's not great. Rose felt the floor tilt. She gripped the edge of the desk to stay upright. Stock, she croaked. Down 29% in the last hour. After hours trading is a bloodbath. Rose closed her eyes. She could already hear the emergency board call being scheduled, the knives being sharpened. She pictured the headlines tomorrow. Tech's Ice Queen melts down. Clinton Innovations circles the drain after CEO's racist tirade. She opened her eyes. Get me Charles Washington on the phone. I don't care how. Mia hesitated. He blocked the main line. And your cell. And the backup cell. And the office landline. Rose laughed, a sharp, ugly sound. Of course he did. She paced, heels stabbing the marble like gunshots. Every second that passed was another million evaporating. She pictured the employees on the lower floors, the ones who still believed in the mission, the ones with mortgages and kids in college. 2,400 lives balanced on the edge of her stupidity. Private jet, she snapped. Tonight. I'll go to him. Mia shook her head. Storm front moving in. All private terminals are grounded until morning. And even if you get there, his building has biometric locks. You won't get past the lobby. Rose stopped pacing. The room spun. She looked at the Bloomberg profile still open on Mia's tablet. Charles Washington stared back. Calm. Unreadable. The man whose hand she had treated like garbage. An idea, cold and desperate, flickered. Find out where he lives, she said quietly. Exact address. I'll go to his door if I have to. Mia blanched. Rose, that's... Do it. Mia fled. Rose was alone with the storm and the ticking clock. She poured herself a scotch from the crystal decanter she kept for celebrations. Her hand shook so badly that ice clinked like bones. She didn't drink it. She just stared at the amber liquid and saw her empire drowning in it. Her phone buzzed again. Unknown number. She snatched it up. Charles. Hope cracked her voice. A woman's voice, smooth and amused. No, Miss Clinton. This is Lena Park, Mr. Washington's chief strategist. He asked me to deliver a message. Rose's heart slammed against her ribs. I'm listening. Mr. Washington has withdrawn the term sheet. Permanently. He also instructed me to inform you that he has begun acquiring shares on the open market through several entities. As of 30 minutes ago, he owns 9.7% of Clinton Innovations. Rose's knees buckled. She sank into her chair. Lena continued, almost kindly. He thought you might want to know before the 13D filing hits tomorrow morning. Good night, Miss Clinton. The line went dead. Rose stared at the phone like it had bitten her. 9.7%. He was already inside the walls. Another buzz. This time an email. Subject line blank. Sender, cw@washgap.com. She opened it with trembling fingers. One line. You should have shaken my hand. No signature. The glass slipped from her hand and shattered on the marble, scotch spreading like blood. Outside, thunder rolled over Manhattan, low and triumphant. Somewhere across the river, Charles Washington stood at his loft window, watching the storm gather. His phone buzzed with buy orders executing in the dark pool. 10.3%, 11.1%, 12.8%. He allowed himself the smallest, coldest smile. The game had only just begun, and Rose Clinton had already lost the first move. She just didn't know how completely yet. The storm hit Manhattan at 6:42 p.m., hard rain lashing the glass like thrown gravel. Rose didn't notice. She was hunched over her desk, phone glued to her ear, listening to Charles Washington's voicemail for the 32nd time. Currently in a meeting with founders who respect me. Each word felt like a scalpel. She killed the call and immediately redialed. Same recording. She switched to her burner phone, the one she used for headhunters. Blocked. She tried the office landline. Blocked. She even tried the ancient flip phone she kept for emergencies in her purse. Blocked. A low animal sound escaped her throat. Mia hovered in the doorway, soaked from running back with printouts. Private jets are grounded until at least 4 a.m. LaGuardia, Teterboro, Westchester. All closed. Rose didn't look up. Then book the first thing that moves. I don't care if it's a crop duster. She opened her laptop and started typing emails like a woman possessed. Subject, urgent, let's talk tonight. Subject, I was wrong, name your price. Subject, for the 2,400 employees who don't deserve this. Every send felt like throwing a message in a bottle into a hurricane. Nothing came back. 6:59 p.m. The office lights flickered as thunder cracked overhead. Her phone lit up with a push notification. TikTok. At Truth T-Tech. CEO refuses handshake. Calls security on billionaire investor clownface. Full video inside. 5.1 million views 2 hours ago. Rose clicked. The clip was mercilessly clear. Her pink tweed suit glowing under the atrium lights. Arms crossed. Laughing as Charles extended his hand. The camera zoomed on her curled lip. The moment she said, "Not for people like you." Then the slow motion of security marching him out while her execs watched in frozen horror. Soundtrack, a slowed down, distorted version of her own voice saying real stakeholders. Comments scrolled like ticker tape. Imagine being this racist in 2025 skull. Clinton Innovation stock about to be worth less than my subway card. Someone check on the 401ks. Pin comment, 87K likes. Plot twist. The scammer owns half the fintech apps on your phone, faced with tears of joy. Rose's stomach lurched so violently she thought she'd be sick. Another notification. Stock price alert. CLI minus 41.3% after hours. She slammed the laptop shut. Elena, she shouted into the intercom. Conference room. Now. Elena Ramirez arrived 3 minutes later, rain dripping from her coat, eyes wide with something that looked disturbingly like pity. Close the door. Elena did. Rose didn't waste time. How long has Washington been circling us? Elena exhaled. 8 months. Quietly. He reached out through back channels. Loved the predictive AI stack. Said the only variable was leadership risk. She met Rose's eyes. Guess he just got his answer. Rose flinched as if slapped. We can fix this. Can we? Elena's voice was soft, but razor sharp. Rose, do you know how many times I've been told I'm not ready for the C-suite yet? How many black and brown engineers you've called not polished enough? Charles didn't just see the atrium. He saw every Glassdoor review, every leaked email, every promotion I didn't get. The room temperature seemed to plummet. Rose opened her mouth, closed it. Her phone buzzed again. Harlan. She sent it to voicemail. Flashback. 18 months ago. An email she'd written at 2 a.m. after too much wine at a gala. Subject. VP Engineering Shortlist. Jamal Carter is brilliant on paper, but I'm not sure you understand. He doesn't quite project the executive gravitas we need for investor meetings. Let's keep looking. She'd hit send without a second thought. Another flashback. The performance review where she'd written aggressive communication style about Sophia Morales, the same style she'd praised as assertive in white male directors. The memories crashed over her like the storm outside. Elena watched her face. You built this company on talent you refused to see. And now the one person who was willing to save it just watched you prove every rumor true. Rose's voice came out small. I didn't know who he was. That's the problem, Elena said quietly. You never bothered to know who any of us were. Silence stretched, broken only by rain hammering the windows. Rose's phone lit up again. This time a text from an unknown number. Screenshot attached. SEC Form 4 filing. Washington Capital Entities. Current ownership. 14.82% beneficial ownership. The message underneath. Sleep well, Rose. Her blood turned to ice. She looked up at Elena, eyes wild. He's buying in the dark pool. Right now. Elena nodded slowly. He's not walking away. He's taking over. Rose's legs gave out. She sank into the leather chair, the same one she'd posed in for Forbes covers. 57 days until bankruptcy. 14.8% already in enemy hands. 21 million people watching her burn. She stared at the storm tearing the sky apart and made the only decision left. Book the first flight that moves, she whispered. I'm going to him. Tonight. Elena hesitated. Rose, he doesn't want your apology. I don't care what he wants, Rose said, voice cracking. I'll beg on my knees if that's what it takes. Outside, lightning forked across the Hudson, illuminating the city for one blinding second. Inside, Rose Clinton booked a 5:15 a.m. Blade helicopter to Brooklyn, a car to whatever tower Charles called home, and started rehearsing the words she never thought she'd say. I'm sorry. I was wrong. Please. She didn't know if they would be enough. But she was about to find out. And somewhere across the river, Charles Washington watched the buy orders tick higher, rain streaking his window like tears the city was crying for her. The storm wasn't the only thing gathering force tonight. The helicopter blades sliced through the pre-dawn fog like a guillotine, dropping Rose at a private helipad on the Brooklyn waterfront at 5:47 a.m. She hadn't slept. The storm had raged all night, mirroring the chaos in her head, thunderclaps echoing the board's furious emails, lightning flashes illuminating viral memes of her face twisted in contempt. She looked like hell. Hair matted from the chopper's turbulence, pink tweed suit wrinkled and stained with yesterday's coffee, makeup a smeared mask. Her driver sped her to Washington Capitol's tower, a sleek obsidian spire piercing the skyline like a middle finger to the old guard. The lobby was a crypt at this hour, marble floors echoing her uneven steps, air chilled with the scent of fresh polish and quiet power. A lone receptionist, young, black, Name tag reading Keisha looked up from her terminal. I need to see Charles Washington, Rose blurted, voice raw from screaming into pillows all night. It's urgent. Tell him Rose Clinton is here. Keisha's eyes flickered with recognition. The video. Of course. Do you have an appointment, Miss Clinton? No. But, Rose leaned on the desk, knuckles white. Please. 5 minutes. Tell him I flew through a storm for this. Tell him I'll wait. Keisha picked up the phone, spoke in murmurs. Hung up. I'm sorry. Mr. Washington isn't available. Rose's stomach dropped. I'll wait. Keisha nodded politely. There are seats by the windows. Rose collapsed into a leather chair that probably cost more than her first car. The city stirred outside, delivery trucks rumbling, early joggers braving the drizzle. Her phone buzzed incessantly. Notification, CLI stock opens at minus 62%. Analysts predict delisting by week's end. Another. Video hits 23 million views. CNN running segment. Text toxic culture exposed? She silenced it, but the whispers started as employees trickled in. A cluster of analysts in hoodies paused at the desk, glancing her way. One murmured, That's her. The handshake lady. A suit with a briefcase did a double take. Holy shit, she's actually here. Rose shrank into the chair, pulling her coat tighter. Hours blurred. 6:30 became 7:15. Coffee appeared courtesy of Keisha on the house, but Rose couldn't stomach it. Her bladder screamed, but she didn't dare leave for the bathroom. What if he slipped in? By 8 o'clock, the lobby hummed with rush hour energy. Whispers turned to stares. A woman in a power suit snapped a discreet photo. Rose's phone lit up. Harlan. Board meeting at noon. Your resignation on the table. She texted back. Stall them. Fixing this. 9:12 a.m. Keisha approached. Miss Clinton? Mr. Washington can spare 15 minutes. Conference room 3, 14th floor. Rose bolted up so fast her vision spotted. Thank you. The elevator ride was eternal, mirrors reflecting her wreckage back at her. She finger-combed her hair, wiped her eyes. Beg. Apologize. Whatever it takes. Conference room 3 was stark. Glass table, 6 chairs, Manhattan skyline mocking her through the wall. Charles sat at the head, fresh in a gray hoodie and jeans, sipping coffee like he had all day. He didn't stand. Miss Clinton, he said, voice smooth as silk over steel. Sit. She did, knees trembling. Mr. Washington, I. He raised a hand. Before you start, let's be clear. Rose swallowed. You keep calling this a misunderstanding. Like if you'd known my bank balance, you'd have shaken my hand. His eyes locked on hers, unblinking. That's not the issue. The issue is you saw a black man in a t-shirt and decided I didn't belong in your world. You laughed in my face, called security, humiliated me in front of your entire team. For what? My clothes? My skin? The words landed like blows. Rose's throat tightened. I was wrong. Stressed. The company's dying and I. Stressed? Charles leaned forward. I've been stressed. Grew up watching my mom work 3 jobs to keep the lights on. Harvard profs assuming I was there on affirmative action. VCs passing on my pitches because I didn't look the part. But I never treated anyone like you treated me. Tears burned Rose's eyes. She blinked them back. Please. The deal, $400 million. 2,400 jobs. They don't deserve to lose everything because of my mistake. Charles studied her for a long, agonizing beat. Then he slid a single sheet across the table. Read. Rose's hands shook as she picked it up. Term sheet addendum. Televised public apology admitting racial bias and profiling. Independent DI audit of Clinton Innovations, results public. Board composition, 35% diverse hires within 9 months, or deal voids. Personal donation from Rose Clinton, for $1 million to black-led fintech incubators. Mandatory executive sensitivity training, quarterly reports to Washington Capitol. Immediate step down as CEO, retain advisory role only. Refusal of any term, full withdrawal. Hostile actions commence. Rose's vision blurred. Televised. Public. Step down. This wasn't a rescue, it was a guillotine. She looked up, tears spilling now. The apology on what platform? Your choice, Charles said coolly. but live. No script doctoring. And the rest? Non-negotiable. She broke then, sobs racking her body. Please. I'll do it. All of it. Just save the company. He watched her cry, expression unchanging. Tentatively agreed. My lawyers will draft the binding version by noon. Sign it, or watch your stock hit zero. Rose nodded through the tears, smearing ink on the sheet as she initialed the bottom. Subplot threads wove in via her buzzing phone. Video at 28 million. Stock down another 11%. A leaked board memo circulating. Clinton's position untenable. Charles stood. 15 minutes up. Keisha will show you out. Rose wiped her face. Thank you. Don't thank me yet, he said at the door. This isn't mercy. It's accountability. And if you fail one term. He didn't finish. Didn't need to. The elevator down felt like a plunge into abyss. Outside, the storm had cleared, but Rose's world was darker than ever. High stakes. She just bet her soul. And Charles Washington held all the cards. The elevator doors hissed shut behind Rose like a cell slamming. She leaned against the mirrored wall, her reflection a fractured mess. Tear-streaked cheeks, rumpled tweed, eyes hollow as the abyss she'd just stared into. 15 minutes. That's all it took for Charles Washington to strip her bare, dangle salvation on a noose of humiliation, and send her stumbling back into the storm. Outside Washington Capitol's tower, the Brooklyn streets pulsed with morning rush, oblivious to her unraveling. Her driver idled at the curb, but Rose waved him off. She needed air, even if it choked her. Her phone vibrated nonstop, a hornet's nest in her pocket. She pulled it out. 57 notifications. The top one, CNN alert. Tech Titan's racist refusal goes megaviral. Clinton Innovation CEO caught on camera dismissing black billionaire investor. The article loaded in fragments, her laughing face frozen mid-sneer, Charles's extended hand like a symbol of everything she'd crushed. Sources confirm. The intruder was Charles Washington, stealth fintech mogul worth over $1 billion. Video views, 32 million and soaring. Rose's knees buckled. She grabbed a lamppost to stay upright. Below the headline, embedded tweets from ex-employees poured in like acid rain. At former Clintoning, this? Standard Rose. Passed me over for promo twice because I didn't fit the image. Black woman in tech equals invisible. Hashtag Clinton exposed. At Latina coder gone. She called my feedback too emotional in reviews. White guys yelling. Passionate leadership. Glad I left before this blew up. Hundreds more. A thread from an anonymous account. Clearly an insider. Detailed the real Clinton culture. Microaggressions in meetings. Diversity hires tokenized then sidelined. Emails with coded racism like lacks executive polish for anyone not pale and male. Rose's breath came in short gasps. How did they know? Who leaked? Her phone rang. Harlan. She answered this time, voice a rasp. Rose, what in God's name have you done? I'm fixing it. Met with Washington. He gave terms. Terms. Harlan's laugh was bitter, laced with fury. The board's in meltdown. 3 major investors just pulled their lines of credit. Said they can't associate with that video. We're hemorrhaging cash faster than ever. And now this lawsuit buzz. Lawsuit. Rose's blood ran cold. What lawsuit? Check your email. Class action just filed in federal court. Former POC employees, dozens of them. Citing discriminatory practices, emails, the works. Your emails, Rose. She switched apps mid-call. The inbox was a war zone. Top message, from her lawyers. Subject, urgent, class action complaint. Immediate response required. Attachment, Clinton_former employees.pdf. She skimmed, heart jackhammering. Plaintiffs, 37X staff, led by Jamal Carter, the engineer she dismissed as not ready. Allegations, systemic bias, unequal promotions, hostile environment. Evidence, screenshots of her emails. Not executive material. Culture fit issues. Too aggressive for team dynamics. How? Those were internal. Deleted. Or so she thought. Harlan's voice cut through. The suit demands $50 million in damages. And they're naming you personally. Your assets, Rose. The house in Greenwich. The yacht. All of it. She slid down the lamppost, as hitting wet pavement. Rain mingled with fresh tears. I didn't. I can apologize. Publicly. Like Washington wants. Too late for that. The board's calling an emergency meeting. Virtual, in 30 minutes. Be there, or we'll vote without you. Click. Isolation crashed over her like a wave. She scrolled contacts. Her mother, dial. Straight to voicemail. Mom, it's me. Call back. Please. Nothing. Her sister, text sent. Sis, need to talk. Media's twisting everything. Read receipt. No reply. Even her ex-husband, the one who'd left citing her workaholic cruelty, sent a single line. You brought this on yourself. Family distancing. Friends ghosting. The world closing ranks. Another alert. Bloomberg update. Washington Capitol leaks details on character test. Charles Washington's incognito meetings designed to expose bias in tech leaders. The article quoted an anonymous source from his team. Mr. Washington dresses down deliberately. It's a filter. Rose Clinton failed spectacularly and publicly. Shares jumped 8% for Washington Capitol. Clinton innovations? Cratering toward zero. Rose staggered to her feet, hailed a cab. Back to HQ fast. The ride was a blur of honking horns and her phone's relentless pings. More headlines. Forbes. From Forbes' darling to pariah. Rose Clinton's fall in real time. Wall Street Journal. Investor pullout tsunami hits Clinton innovations amid bias scandal. Twitter. No. X now hashtag Rose resign, trending globally. By the time she burst into the 45th floor, the emergency meeting link was waiting in her inbox. She locked herself in the conference room, fired up the screen. Faces materialized. Harlan, grim as death. The other board members, venture capitalists, old money heirs, wearing expressions of calculated detachment. Rose, Harlan began, voice like gravel. We've lost 40% of our valuation in 24 hours. Sponsors are fleeing. The lawsuit could bankrupt us before bankruptcy does. She opened her mouth. I have a plan. Washington's terms. One VC interrupted. We saw the leak. Televised apology? DI overhaul. You stepping down? That's not a plan. That's surrender. Another. Investors are out. Sequoia just wired their withdrawal. Kleiner Perkins too. Mounting isolation squeezed her chest. She was alone in the room, but the screen made it feel like a tribunal. Harlan leaned into the camera. We vote at noon tomorrow. Your future here. The company's. All of it. The call ended. Rose sat in the dim room, rain streaking the windows like prison bars. The lawsuit PDF glowed on her laptop. Emails she'd written in arrogance, now weapons turned against her. Rapid revelations hammered. Ex-employees organizing on LinkedIn. A GoFundMe for the plaintiffs hitting 6 figures in hours. Charles's stake now at 17.4% per a fresh filing. She drafted the apology script, fingers numb. I admit my bias. I profiled. I commit to change. But the words felt hollow. The legal threat loomed largest, a multi-million noose around her neck. Thunder rumbled, shaking the tower. The backlash wasn't a storm. It was a hurricane. And Rose was at the eye, watching everything she built get ripped away. Noon tomorrow. The board would decide her fate. But deep down, she knew. The verdict was already in. 11:58 a.m. 45th floor conference room, blinds half drawn against the gray Manhattan sky. Rose sat alone at the long glass table, laptop open to the emergency board link. She was still in yesterday's pink tweed, now creased and sour with dried sweat. The screen flickered to life. 12 squares, 12 faces, none of them smiling. Harlan's voice came first, flat and final. This meeting is called to order. One item on the agenda. Leadership transition at Clinton Innovations. Rose's mouth went dry. Harlan, we can discuss. No discussion, he cut in. Motion to remove Rose Clinton as CEO and chairman, effective immediately. Second, hands shot up like guillotine blades. 8, 9, 10. Unanimous. She stared, stunned, as if the vote were happening to someone else. Harlan continued without pause. Motion to appoint Elena Ramirez as interim CEO. Second, Again, every hand. Elena's square filled the center of the screen. She looked exhausted, but her eyes were steady. Rose found her voice. Elena, you knew about this? Elena's answer was soft, almost sad. I tried to warn you, Rose. For years. Flashback, 18 months earlier. Rose in this same room, sliding Elena's promotion packet back across the table. You're brilliant, Elena, but the board wants someone who commands the room. You're quieter. We'll revisit next cycle. Translation, not white enough, not loud enough, not male enough. Another memory, 2 years ago. Rose laughing with Harlan over martinis. Diversity is great for optics, but the C-suite still needs to look like the people writing the checks. The hypocrisy burned now, acid in her throat. Harlan's voice dragged her back. Rose, you will retain a non-executive board seat for 6 months, per the Washington Agreement. All unvested stock, 22 million shares, forfeited immediately. Vesting stops today. 22 million shares. Her net worth just shrank by roughly $240 million. She couldn't breathe. A new document appeared on her screen. The binding term sheet from Charles Washington, now countersigned by the board. She scrolled, hands trembling. Immediate resignation as CEO. Public apology, live, no edits, within 48 hours. $4 million personal donation to minority founder funds. Full cooperation with DI audit. Personal liability for any lawsuit shortfall. At the bottom, in bold, breach of any term triggers immediate withdrawal of $400 million lifeline and acceleration of hostile takeover. She clicked accept. The digital signature box waited like an open grave. She typed her name. The screen flashed green. Done. Harlan cleared his throat. The $400 million closes tomorrow, contingent on your compliance. Charles Washington will take a board observer seat. Of course he would. One by one, the squares winked out. Elena's lingered longest. I'm sorry it had to be this way, Elena said quietly. But the company comes first. The call ended. Silence roared in Rose's ears. She was alone in the glass box she used to rule. Her phone buzzed. Her lawyer. Rose, the class action plaintiffs just raised their demand. $75 million. They've got more emails, ones you thought were deleted forever. Server backups. We can settle for 35, but it has to be today. From your personal accounts. 35 million. Her Hamptons house. The Greenwich estate. The art collection. Gone. She whispered, do it. She hung up and stared out at the Hudson, gray and merciless. Flashback, 6 years ago. Her first Forbes cover. Smiling in this exact suit, arms crossed, headline. The Ice Queen building tech's next empire. She believed her own myth. Untouchable, inevitable, better. Now the empire was Elena's. The money was Charles's. The narrative belonged to 30 million strangers online. Her assistant's voice crackled over the intercom, tentative. Miss Clinton? Security says you need to clear your office by 5. They're changing the locks. Rose laughed once, a broken sound. She stood, legs unsteady, and walked to the window. Below, Manhattan crawled on without her. She pressed her forehead to the cold glass. For the first time in her life, Rose Clinton had absolutely nothing left to lose. And everything to answer for. 2 days later. Clinton Innovations Auditorium, 11 a.m. sharp. The room was packed to the rafters. 300 journalists. Cameras stacked 3 rows deep. LED lights hot enough to melt skin. A single podium stood center stage. Mike already live. Red tally lights blinking like executioner's eyes. Rose walked out alone. No makeup artist. No PR team band from the wings. Just her, in a plain black dress, hair pulled back so tight it hurt, hands shaking so hard she had to clasp them behind her back. The second she appeared, the room detonated. Shutters clicking like machine gun fire. Shouted questions overlapping into white noise. She stepped to the mic. The feedback squeal cut everyone silent. Her voice came out small, then steadier. My name is Rose Clinton. 48 hours ago, I committed an act of racial profiling in this building. I refused to shake the hand of Charles Washington, a black investor who had traveled here to offer us a lifeline. I judged him by his clothes and the color of his skin. I called security. I humiliated him in front of my entire executive team. There is no excuse. A ripple of gasps, flashes. Someone in the front row was already live streaming. I was wrong. I was cruel. I was blinded myself with privilege and entitlement. That moment did not happen in a vacuum. It was the culmination of years of biases I refused to examine, decisions I made that hurt people who trusted me. I am profoundly, permanently sorry. Her throat closed. She forced the next words out. Effective immediately, I am stepping down as CEO of Clinton Innovations. Elena Ramirez will lead the company forward. I have agreed to a full, independent DI audit with public results. I am personally donating $4 million to organizations supporting Black and Brown founders. And I will undergo intensive bias training for as long as it takes. The room erupted. Ms. Clinton, will you face criminal charges? Are you only apologizing because you got caught? Is this damage control or genuine remorse? She didn't flinch. No charges are filed. And yes, I got caught. If Charles Washington had not been a billionaire, I would never have faced consequences. That is the ugliest truth of all. I am doing this because it is right, not because it is convenient. A reporter from Bloomberg stood. You said years of bias. Can you be specific? Rose swallowed. I passed over brilliant people of color for promotions because they didn't look the part. I used phrases like culture fit and executive presence as coded weapons. I built a company that rewarded people who looked like me and punished those who didn't. That ends today. The questions kept coming, sharper, faster, merciless. She answered every one, voice cracking but never wavering. When it lasted 23 minutes. When she stepped back, the room didn't applaud. They simply stared, some with contempt, some with something close to awe. Within 30 minutes the clip was everywhere. Hashtag Rose Clinton apology trended worldwide within an hour. Views hit 100 million by nightfall. Across tech, CEOs quietly emailed their boards, schedule our own audit. Now, that evening, in a windowless hotel meeting room near Penn Station, 30 former employees waited. The plaintiffs from the class action suit. They had requested a private meeting. Rose had agreed. No lawyers, no cameras. She walked in alone. Jamal Carter stood first. The engineer she'd once labeled not executive material. You remember me? He asked. I remember every name, Rose said, voice hoarse. And every excuse I made. One by one they confronted her. Some cried. Some screamed. Some simply looked at her in the eye and let the silence do the work. When the last person left, Rose stayed in the empty room until the janitor asked her to leave. Later, in the back of a hired car crawling through Midtown, invitations canceled one after another. Sorry, Rose. The gala committee decided to go another direction. We filled the keynote slot. Family emergency. Can't make dinner. At a stoplight, a teenager on the sidewalk recognized her, held up a phone, and shouted the new viral chant. No handshake, no mercy. The light turned green. The car pulled away. Her phone buzzed. A single text from Charles Washington. You did the first hard thing. Keep going. She stared at those 4 words until the screen dimmed. For the first time in her life, Rose Clinton had no empire to hide behind. Only the long, ugly, necessary road ahead. And for the first time, she started walking it. 6 months later, a gray Thursday in late April, Rose stepped off the subway at Atlantic Avenue wearing an anonymous jeans, a plain hoodie, and sunglasses that cost more than most people's rent. The hoodie was deliberate, armor against recognition. She still got stared at, but the stares were colder now, not curious. She had learned to live with them. Her phone buzzed. A calendar reminder. Bias coaching, session 47. Dr. Kesha Moore. 3 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. She was never late anymore. The office was a converted loft in Bed-Stuy, nothing like the glass palaces she once ruled. Dr. Moore greeted her with the same unflinching calm she'd had since week 1. You're smiling today, Kesha observed. Am I? Rose touched her mouth as if discovering it. I mentored a founder this morning. Kid from the Bronx. Built an app that tracks insulin prices in real time. Investors keep ghosting him. I made introductions. Kesha nodded. How did that feel? Like breathing clean air for the first time in years. They spent the session dissecting the previous week's triggers: a grocery store clerk who'd refused to meet her eyes, a former colleague who'd crossed the street to avoid her, the quiet satisfaction of watching Clinton Innovations stock climb 180% under Elena's leadership, while her own name was scrubbed from the website. Kesha asked the hardest question every week. Do you still believe you deserved what you had? Rose no longer flinched. I believed I earned it. There's a difference. And I was wrong. After the session, she walked to a co-working space in Dumbo that smelled of burnt coffee and ambition. 8 black and brown founders waited in a circle of mismatched chairs. She was their volunteer mentor now, 3 evenings a week, no fee, no publicity. She listened more than she spoke. When a young woman worried her pitch sounded too aggressive, Rose told her quietly, I once punished a Latina engineer for the same thing. Don't dim yourself. I'll practice with you until it feels like power instead of fear. They recorded nothing. No cameras. No redemption arc for the algorithm. Just work. Back at the tiny rented studio in Carroll Gardens, the Greenwich Mansion and Hampton's house sold to cover the lawsuit settlement. She opened her laptop. The final settlement had closed 2 weeks ago. $38 million total, $21 million from her personal liquidated assets. The plaintiff's attorney had sent a one-line email. Money doesn't heal harm, but accountability is a start. She still had enough to live, modestly, but the days of private jets and courtside seats were ash. Her inbox held one new message that made her breath catch. Subject, thank you. From Charles Washington. She opened it with trembling fingers. The audit is complete. Results public tomorrow. Your former employees say the culture is unrecognizable, in a good way. I doubted you would keep going. You proved me wrong. Respect. CW. No warmth. No forgiveness. Just respect. It was more than she had earned, and everything she needed. She closed the laptop and looked out her single window at the brownstones across the street. A kid on a scooter waved. She waved back without thinking, then realized she was crying. Quiet, steady tears that didn't feel like punishment anymore. They felt like rain after a long fire. The next morning the audit dropped. Clinton Innovations, now rebranded under Elena as Nova Collective, released the full 112-page report. The numbers were brutal in their honesty. Pre-scandal, for % black executives, 7% Latino, 71% white. Today, 34% black, 28% Latino, 22% white, 16% other. Employee trust score up from 2.8 to 4.6 out of 5. Revenue, plus 204% year over year. The cover letter was signed by Elena, but the acknowledgments page carried one line Rose had asked for. This journey began with a refusal to shake a hand. It continues because many hands reached back. Across the industry, the ripple became a wave. 12 major tech firms announced voluntary DEI audits within a month. 3 CEOs quietly resigned after similar videos surfaced. Business schools added the Clinton Reckoning to ethics curricula. Rose read none of the praise. She was too busy showing up. Some nights, she still woke gasping from nightmares. The atrium laughter echoing. Charles's unanswered hand hanging in the air. But the mornings were different now. She brewed coffee in a chipped mug. She took the subway. She mentored. She listened. And slowly, painfully, imperfectly, she changed. Not redeemed. Not forgiven. Just no longer the woman who believed the world owed her anything. One Thursday evening, after mentoring hours, the young Bronx founder pulled her aside. I got the term sheet today, he whispered, eyes shining. Lead investors cited your introduction. Rose felt something loosen in her chest. What's your company called? She asked. He grinned. Handshake Health. She laughed, really laughed, for the first time in months. Outside, the Brooklyn spring night was soft and smelled of possibility. Inside, Rose Clinton walked home under streetlights, lighter than she had ever been at the top of any tower. The fall had broken her open. The slow climb back was teaching her how to be human. 1 year to the day. Grand Ballroom, San Francisco Marriott Marquis. Future Forward Tech Summit. The lights dimmed. A single spotlight found the stage. The moderator's voice carried over the hush of 2,000 attendees. Please welcome our closing keynote panel. Elena Ramirez, CEO of Nova Collective, formerly Clinton Innovations. And our surprise co-panelists, Charles Washington and Rose Clinton. The gasp rippled through the room like wind through wheat. Rose walked out first. Simple black blazer, no jewelry, hair in a low knot. She looked 10 years older and, somehow, lighter. Charles followed in his trademark hoodie and jeans, calm as ever. They took their seats on opposite ends of the curved table, leaving an empty chair between them, an unspoken buffer. The moderator wasted no time. Mr. Washington, Miss Clinton, exactly 1 year ago the video from this city changed everything. Today you're sharing a stage. How is that possible? Charles spoke first, voice low, steady. Because Rose did something most people in power never do. She stayed in the fire. She didn't hide behind PR, lawyers, or NDAs. She showed up every week, every month, and did the work. That doesn't erase what happened, but it creates something new. He turned to Rose. Your turn. Rose looked out at the sea of faces, many hostile, many curious, a few openly filming. A year ago, she began. I stood in my own atrium and refused to shake Charles Washington's hand because he was black and wearing a t-shirt. My privilege blinded me to his humanity, his brilliance, his right to exist in that space. I thought the world revolved around my comfort. I was catastrophically wrong. She paused, letting the silence stretch. That refusal cost me my company, my reputation, my wealth, and every illusion I had about myself. But it gave me something I never deserved, a second chance to become a decent human being. I teach unconscious bias seminars now, not as a redeemed hero, but as a cautionary tale who is still learning every single day. A hand shot up in the front row, sharp, angry. You think one apology and some classes fix what you did? Rose met the woman's eyes. No, nothing fixes it. I live with it every day. I mentor founders I once would have dismissed. I read every hate comment. I lost friends, family dinners, board seats. Some doors will never open again. That's fair. Change isn't one apology. It's daily. And I'm still doing it. Charles added quietly. Real change looks boring. It's showing up when no one's filming. The moderator leaned in. Mr. Washington, you saved the company. Do you consider Rose forgiven? Charles considered. I don't get to grant forgiveness for a system that hurt a lot of people long before it hurt me. But I respect someone who keeps choosing the harder road. That's rare. The session ended in restrained, almost reverent applause. Backstage, the hallway was quiet. Charles stopped Rose before she could leave. I read your last seminar curriculum, he said. Solid. You left in the part where you show your own emails, unredacted. I don't get to hide anymore. He nodded once, the closest thing to warmth he'd ever offered her. Then he extended his hand. Rose stared at it for a heartbeat, the same hand that had started the avalanche. She took it. Firm, warm, equal. Cameras caught it from 3 angles. The clip would hit 100 million views by morning. But this time the comments were different. Not absolution. Just acknowledgement that people can, sometimes, against all odds, grow. 6 months after that, a small incubator space in Oakland. Rose stood at a whiteboard, sleeves rolled up, marker in hand, teaching 20 young founders how to read a term sheet. A lanky kid in a Howard hoodie approached afterward, nervous. Miss Clinton? I got into an accelerator, but they said because of your recommendation. I just wanted to say thank you. He stuck out his hand. Rose looked at it, then at him, and felt something settle in her chest that had been cracked open a year and a half earlier. She shook it, strong, deliberate, eye contact unbroken. You earned it, she said. Now go build something that scares the old guard. He grinned and walked away. Rose watched him go, then glanced at her phone. A single new email from Charles Washington. Subject: Handshake Health just hit unicorn status. Thought you'd want to know. She smiled, small, tired, real. The fall had taken everything. The slow, daily climb back had given her something she never knew she lacked. A conscience she could live with. Outside, San Francisco evenings settled soft and gold over the bay. Inside, Rose Clinton packed her marker, slung her worn backpack over her shoulder, and walked into the rest of her life. One handshake at a time.